Well, hey everybody, Mr. E's back with you, and in this video we're going to be working through some IXL skills in 8th grade math on solving one variable equations. So I am an IXL, 8th grade math. I'm going to scroll all the way down to section W, one variable equations, and we're going to be working through some of these skills down here. In fact, I'm going to start right now with skill W1, which x satisfies an equation. Remember, solving an equation is finding the value of the variable that makes the equation true. So I want to know what plus 13 is 25. They gave me two choices. I can either plug them both in and see which one works, or I can do the inverse operation that we know how now to do. 25 take away 13 is 12. 12 plus 13 is 25, so that is our solution. All right, what plus 2 is 6? Well, 6 minus 2 is 4. All right, these ones really don't get any harder. We're just plugging them in here. All right, 5x plus 5x is 70. Now, we do know that we can add 5x plus 5x and get 10x. So 10x is 70, and we get 7, or I could have plugged in 7 and gotten 35 plus 35 is 70. All right, what about this one right here? Okay, now it's looking a little more complicated, but the idea is still the same. We're going to plug it in and see what makes it true. Now, I could try to simplify this. Just a reminder, we did learn earlier, the distributive property, all right, and combining like terms. So one option would be to go ahead and simplify that second side on the right there. We could apply the distributive property like so, and we could say negative 7c minus 63 minus 9, and those two right there would give me negative 7c minus 72. All right, and then it's a matter of, is it negative 8 or is it negative 7? All right, well, if I do negative 7 times negative 8, that's going to give me that's going to give me positive 56. Let me see if I can get this eraser out, okay? And then 56 minus 72. All right, I'd actually have to do 72 minus 56 to figure this one out. Well, I'm going to have to borrow here, right? 12 minus 6 is 6, and 6 minus 5 is 1, and that would give me the 16 that I need. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead. I got the answer and say negative 8. Just a reminder, you are welcome to use a calculator. All right, if you don't want to simplify, you could just plug it in. Remember, you could just see what works. I can try 3 minus 11 divided by 2 and see if that equals 3. Or I could try 5 minus 11 is equal to 2. Is that supposed to be a negative p there? Because neither of those are working as far as I can tell. I think that's supposed to be a negative p. Because if I do 3 minus 11 divided by 2, that's going to give me negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. If I do 5 minus 11 divided by 2, that's going to give me negative 6 divided by 2, and that's going to give me negative 3. I think that's supposed to be like a negative p like that. So the correct answer that we would be looking for was 5. 5 is what makes it work. Okay, so on this first section, just plug it in and find the value of the variable that makes the equation true. Some of these are going to be a little more tricky. Again, you are welcome to use a calculator if you want to. Okay. All right, the next section, Algebra Tiles. So I made a video on Algebra Tiles. If you did not watch that video, I strongly encourage you to go ahead and watch the video. The video shows that algebra tiles are just a pictorial way to look at an equation, excuse me. All right, here we go. So these green bars represent x, and each of these yellow squares represents 1, just like they say. Well, we want two x's to equal 10. So if you take a look at the picture, which one has two x's? Well, this one has two x's, and this one has two x's. Well, which one equals 10? Well, this one is 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. This one is 3, 6, 9, 10. So that bottom equation is 2x is equal to 10. All right. Next question. All right. Now, when they're red, they are negatives. All right. So you can see that we want it to be -6. So again, I'm looking for 6 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives. All right, so these both have 6 negatives, but then I want 2 positives. Well, there's 2 positives, there's 6 negatives. So 6 negatives plus 2 positives equals 14. That would be this one right here, right? Let's double check that this is 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 and 5 is 10 plus 4 is 14. So there's the one that we're looking for right there. All right, so if we look at this one, which equation does it represent? Well, what do I have right here? I've got 3 x's, so it has to be one of these ones that has 3 x's plus 9. Well, this one is the only one that has 3x plus 9, right? We don't even have to look over here. But if we did, we'd see that we have 7 rows of 3. So that is 21. All right, let's skip up to the next level and see what they have us do here. All right, so what equation do we have here? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's, right? Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So when I go to put this in, I'm going to put 6x, and then I'm going to put plus 7, and then it's an equation. So it's going to equal, and then what do we have on the other side? We've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. All right. So, whoops, I didn't get that in there. 6x plus 7 equals 13. All right. This one right here, what equation do I have? Remember, those red ones are negative. So, I'm going to have a negative 1x because I just have one of them, right? And then I'm going to put minus, because adding a negative is the same as subtracting a positive, minus 4. And then I'm going to put equals, and what do I have on the other side? I have -5. Okay, negative 1x minus 4, is equal to -5. All righty. Now they want me actually to solve it, okay? Now you don't actually have to use the algebra tiles to solve it. You could just solve it the way we've been doing it with inverse operations by subtracting 3, because that's the opposite of adding 3, and then dividing by 3. If I did take away 3 from both sides, I'd get 3x equals 6, and then I would divide what was left into 3 groups, and I would get x is equal to 2. Do you see if I put 2 here? 2, 4, 6 plus 3 is 9. All right. Each of these green bars would represent 2 of those, right? X is equal to 2. Again, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9. All right, let me do one more of these. All right, -x plus 8 is equal to 10. Again, if I took away 8 from each side, if I subtract 8 from each side, that's going to give me -x is equal to 2. Well, if -x is equal to +2, then +x would be equal to -2. I need x to be negative, so the opposite would be positive, because I need this to turn positive, right? Everything over here is positive, so a negative times a negative is a positive. All right, I'm going to go on to the next skill now. The skill right here, W4, write and solve equations that represent diagrams. All right, now remember, when you have these lines that are the same length, that means they are equal. So I'm going to go ahead and do some writing here now. All right, I think I'm going to do some writing. There we go. So on the top, I have 36, and I'm going to make that one side on the equation. And then on the bottom, I have 5x plus x plus 3x. All right, but they told me to combine like terms. All right, if you remember earlier this year, we learned how to combine like terms. So 5x plus x, that gives me 6x. 6x plus 3x is 9x. So I get 9x is equal to 36. Or if we write it in the order it's in, 36 is equal to 9x. 36. Oh, it didn't type. Let's try this again. All right, sorry guys. 36 is equal to 9x. We're going to go ahead and put that in. And, wow, internet's being slow. Okay, it says 0 points. All right, let me try that again. I'm not sure what happened. Okay, this one right here, we've got, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 D's plus 10. That's the bottom, right? And the top is 42. So 42 equals 4D plus 10. So you need to remember to combine those like terms. We're going to combine those like terms, and we're going to get, all right, 4D. By the way, you can put it in either order. Let's go ahead. It says that the length of the green line is equal to, the length of the green line is equal to, so the length of the green line is 42, is equal to 4 of those D's, all right, plus 10. Let's see if this time it registers. All right, it did. All right, let's skip up to the next one. All right, on the next one, it's very similar. What do we have? We have 28 on the top is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Y's plus 8. 5 Y's plus 8. All right. How about this one? Write an equation that says the length of the green line is equal to the length of the black line minus. So sometimes they're going to want you actually to take away. All right, so the length of the green line is 8, and it's equal to the length of the black line. Well, the black line is S, right? There's the black line S, all right, minus the blue line is 1. All right, so these ones get a little more tricky now because we're subtracting rather than adding. But you see how the green line is shorter than the black line? So the black line minus the blue line gives us the green line. And then they want the answer. Well, the answer would be what? Add that 1 back onto that 8, and you get 9. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's do one more. This one right here, what do we have? We have 35 for the top line, and that's going to equal, now the bottom line, again, we're going to combine like terms. We have 4 S's plus S, which is 5S, so that's our equation. And then this is just a one-step equation. What do we do here to get this answer? Well, 5 times something is 35, so we divide because the opposite of multiplying is dividing, and we get S is equal to 7. All right, let me skip over to the next skill, solve one-step equations. All right, so we are now actually going through and solving like we did in the last couple problems. These are just one step though. All right, and we're just going to do the opposite operation or the inverse operation. Okay, I think pretty much you're going to be able to do these mentally, but if we need to, we'll write something down. And remember, you are allowed to use a calculator if you need to. All right, something plus 3 is 7, so I'm going to subtract. 7 minus 3 is 4. All right, next problem. Y minus something is 4, so the inverse of subtracting 5 is adding 5. I'm going to go 4 plus 5 is 9. All right, 8 is equal to something plus 2, so I'm going to subtract that 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. All right, let me skip up to the next level. I think what happens is the numbers just get a little more complicated, but in this case it's not. 2 times something is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, something divided by 3 is 4. The opposite or inverse of dividing is multiplying, so 4 times 3 is equal to 12. And again, you can use a calculator if you need some help with negative numbers or if they throw some fractions or decimals at you. Right here, I would subtract 5 and I get negative 4 minus 5. And that's negative 9 is not negative 1 or positive 1. Negative 4 minus 5, negative 9. All right, and finally, let's go to our last skill, which is solving two-step equations. All right, so this is actually the new skill for this lesson. All right, so what are we going to do here? We're going to take this equation here, and we're going to solve it by using inverse operations. We're going to do the opposite operations in the opposite order. Uh-oh, my Moby is not wanting to work here, so I'm going to restart it. But while we're waiting, if we look at this equation, I've got 6 plus 2k is equal to 8. My goal is to get that k by itself. All right? So what is the inverse or the opposite of adding 6? We're going to subtract 6. And the inverse or opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. It's dividing by 2. So we're going to go ahead now. I think now we're back in business, hopefully. Here we go. We are. So remember, going forwards, we would multiply first and then add. According to PEMDAS, we would do this part and then that part. So going backwards, we're going to be doing the adding or subtracting part first. So I take 6 away from each side because that's the opposite of adding 6. And I get 2k is equal to 2. And then I divide by 2 and I get k is equal to 1. So the answer to this one is 1. And of course we could confirm that because 2 times 1 is 1 plus 6 would give us 8. All right, our next problem. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next problem. Okay, similarly, we've got 3n plus 1 is equal to 10. Opposite operations in the opposite order. Going forwards, we would multiply and then add. All right, so going backwards, we're going to subtract first because that's the opposite of adding 1. That's going to give us 3n is equal to 9. And then we're going to divide by 3, and we're going to get n is equal to 3. All right? And then, of course, if we put that in, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 would actually be 10. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and skip up to the next level. Here we go. Now I've got one. Looks a little more complicated. 18 is equal to h divided by 4 minus, all right, a negative 15. All right, now remember, subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So it's kind of silly that they wrote it this way. I'm going to rewrite it as h divided by 4 plus 15. Again, subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. All right, and I think that makes it more clear because now the opposite of adding 15 is going to be subtracting 15. All right, that's going to give me 3 is equal to h divided by 4. And remember, the inverse of dividing by 4 is multiplying by 4. So I get 12 is equal to 12 is equal to h, not h divided by 4. I already multiplied by 4. And if we put that in, 12 divided by 4 is 3. And then, of course, 3 plus 15 is 18. So the answer we were looking for was 12. All right, let's skip up to the next level. Let's see what they got for us there. All right, same kind of idea. Remember, subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So I'm going to rewrite this as 8d plus 15. Okay, subtracting a negative, same as adding a positive. And then what am I going to do? The opposite operations in the opposite order. Instead of multiplying and then adding, I'm going to subtract first, work my way towards that d, getting that d by itself. 8d is equal to what? 24. And then the inverse or opposite of multiplying by 8 is dividing by 8. And I get d is equal to 3. d is equal to 3. And there we go. All right. Now, this one a little bit, whoops, didn't mean to do that. What we have here is we have a number outside parentheses. So we actually have two options. All right, there's two ways that we can solve this one. All right. One would be to distribute. We learned that distributive property. And then I would get 3u minus, and 3 times 50 would be 153. 150, and 3 times 3 would be 9. So that would be minus 159 is 60. All right. And then I'd have my two-step equation. And I would add 159 to both sides, and I would get 3u is equal to, let's see, when I added those together, I would get, let's see here, 239. All right. Okay, and then I would divide that by 3. Let me double check my math here. 6, 0, 0, that's 9. 6 plus 15 is 21. Sorry, 219. I knew something was wrong. All right, and then we would get u is equal to 73. Okay? The other way is to say, well, this is 3 times something, so I could divide both sides by 3, and I would get u minus 53 is equal to 20, and then I would add 53 to both sides, and I would get u is equal to 73. So actually you can see if this number goes into that number evenly, right? If I gave you 3u was equal to 60, then dividing both sides by 3 would give you u is 20. So if you just look at this as one thing, then dividing first, all right, would actually make your life easier. But you could also distribute the way that we simplified expressions before. So what was my answer? My answer was 73. All right, I think that's all I'm going to do in this video. Of course, you are always welcome to ask for more help or take advantage of their view with example. Remember, one of the great things about IXL is anytime you get to a new skill, all right, let me just pull one up real quick. I just want to show you real quick. Anytime you get to a new skill, they allow you to learn with an example, so you can look at an example and they show you how to do it. And also when you get a question wrong, they will show you how to get it correct. All right, that is the end of our IXL video on 8th grade math on some solving equation skills. Until next time, have a great day.